will not include audio. So yeah, that's the part. And then I don't think you copied the.
I don't think I did. What do I gotta do?
Just make this screen, just minimize it. Yeah.
Can't.
Oh. Okay, just. Yeah, there we are.
Where should I go?
So go to share.
Okay.
I look angry.
Okay. CLC.
Okay.
I'm at here.
And then to edit.
Or indexing.
Pretty sure it's edit. Yeah, because we got to edit it and put it in there. That's the wrong one. Yeah. And we could just start it now, or we can wait. I mean,
I can put something over.
Yeah, I would start it because I always forget. You know, at the last second, especially when they have you start doing roll call, and then you know.
Let's do this, and I can't just sit there.
We can check it if you. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
But we can't mute.
We can't mute till somebody else joins. We have a few. Oh, wait. So you got that.
It'll take me a few more times, but you know, we can do it.
I'm impressed. I mean, you seem like you have it. You know, so. Cool. It's only 5:30, so yeah. Because they don't really go until the last minute. But yeah, that's the only thing about starting. Yeah.
It would be nice to have a dedicated office. Nice to review. Okay, wine. No, there's no parking. There's no parking.
First of all, these are not the good ones. These are the bad ones. What happened was he scared me so bad that I got goosebumps all over my body instantaneously, and my body ran on the skin and my nipple almost exploded.
Hey guys, from Granby. That's a good one. I'll find it for you on my phone. You remember that? What happened?
Dressed and clean.
Thank you.
So I got that going for me.
And we're broadcasting, by the way. We
Oh, yeah,
can't
we
turn it
are.
off until someone joins.
Can't unmute.
Until
So we're recording right now.
somebody
Yes.
joins. Yeah. And we're on
Outstanding.
the.
That's awesome.
So no
Just a little
swearing.
warning.
No swearing.
Steve's got a crush on Lynette.
What was the name of that Granby documentary? You remember the tank guy, right?
Tread.
Yeah.
Tread. TRED. Tread. I probably ought to take advantage of this. You know. Yes, of course I think Lynette's the best mayor in the world.
Granny, it autocorrected to Granny documentary. But you remember when that guy built that tank, right?
Yeah. That
Oh
was,
yeah.
Okay.
Lee. What was his last name? Oh, I can't remember.
Holy God. It's very different than outside.
Right? So outside's very cold.
Yeah.
What's it? It's only 42, it says. Windy though,
I don't really trust it. It
probably.
always says 42 or 46.
I gotta take my shoes off. My
Yeah,
feet.
too.
There's Do you want some slippers?
No, I'm gonna go barefoot because I just, is it
You
that's
should.
okay? I got my
You
feet
should.
to breathe for a
If
second.
I'm barefoot, it's
Hopefully they're not too.
okay.
So
Bring
if you
one.
can maybe send
Do you like pizza?
something.
Well, is there a particular flavor you like?
Whatever you guys want.
Well, but you don't want the Hard Rock and Empire, right?
I know.
Right.
Mm,
She just doesn't like that stuff.
I don't love that style. So, the super thick. We went there. It was cute how they had it all. I hadn't been there since Steve took it over. It is cute. Yeah.
I wish they'd do a breakfast, but I understand why they don't.
Why? They just can't.
Oh, well,
No
yeah,
staff.
It just doesn't make sense.
Well, they spend their whole day prepping pizzas to bring down here.
Oh.
Because Georgetown is probably a more trafficy
Okay, so
locale.
Mountain Buzz is closed anyway. It says it is.
You know who runs that, or one of the people that works there is Morgan. Sam Yenis's
Oh,
gal.
I remember her. Yeah, I know you're talking
She's
about.
super nice.
Yeah, she seems sweet. She had that yoga place. She had a yoga studio right next to town hall for a little bit.
Oh, where
Where the
the
dog.
dog thing is,
Mhm.
right? Boy, that's a niche market.
Let's see if anybody's joining, just so we can.
Quarter of, got a lot of time. Usually people, that's what I like about these things is you roll in like
Okay.
3 minutes of, and you're on time.
Because there's an Okay. Oh. She's just. But I wonder if we can get it now. Oh, or does it have to be artist? Oh, is that a speaker? That's cool.
It's a cute little thing. Actually works really well.
Should I put this on the door facing?
Meeting not muted.
If anybody wants to come in, be reminded.
It's December. What are you getting everybody for Christmas?
Thought.
I had an idea of
Because it's
something
the
that
thought
I
that
wanted.
counts.
Just like a cool wind chime
Nice.
that has cool notes or something, that like a good one. That
Yeah.
sounds,
Yeah.
like some are chintzy and they
well,
just they kind of are annoying with the
Lisa
sound.
got one of those for Brian, and it's like a C kind of one. Like he's from the East Coast, and different seaports have different noises.
Ooh.
So you can buy a wind chime that goes to that particular
Oh, how
noise.
cool.
Yeah,
He's not from the East Coast. He's from Rockville, Illinois.
he lives in Florida,
Rock
and
Island,
Illinois.
He's got a place in Florida.
Yeah.
He's not from there. But he's the guy who could probably solve all our problems in terms of low income housing.
Ooh, and where does your daughter live? We're going to Fort Lauderdale in January.
She lives in Hollywood, so it's
Oh, right there.
between Fort.
North-
Yeah, it's like
north of
15
Fort
So you have
minutes
to tell her what
south.
to do.
Hollywood is?
Hollywood's like
You're right.
Yeah,
I think-
I think. Wait, I could be wrong.
No,
I
I
guess.
think you're
Well,
right.
Deerfield Beach. I thought it was Deerfield, Hollywood, and then Fort Lauderdale.
I think it goes Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Miami. I think.
There.
You might be right. I think you're probably right.
I
It's been a while. I used to live in Palm Beach County, but I lived in Delray, Boynton Beach area. So, yeah, you got to just expand out.
okay, Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, and there's Hollywood.
Okay, so it's south,
So, yeah.
south of Fort Lauderdale.
But pretty
Nice.
close. It's within like 20
Well,
minutes.
this place
south
is west, so it's just west of Fort Lauderdale by about 30 minutes.
But where's our hotel?
Oh, that's on the water.
When are you
That's
going?
January something.
How perfect.
Yeah.
January.
So you have to tell me where to go. Where's the
13th
good
to
beach
the
or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I can ask
Or the
her.
good restaurant.
I mean, Hollywood's kind of like the Idaho Springs of that area.
Really?
You know what I mean? But if you like,
I can see your
quirky,
point. It's
you know what I
small
mean?
town.
yeah,
It's a little small town, but I mean, it's
not
South Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
You know?
South. I mean, Miami. Are you guys going to go to Miami and go to South Beach and stuff?
Oh, no. No.
I not my scene either.
No, we're just happy being in Fort Lauderdale. I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
So we're
actually, it
just
was
above
funny.
Lauderdale by the sea, which I watched murder on today. I got acid in the face.
There's a place called Shooters that's on the Intercoastal in Fort Lauderdale, and I used to work at the Shooters up in Boynton Beach when I lived in Florida. It's a bar and restaurant. It's kind of like an upscale Chili's.
Oh.
And it's but the one in
Oh,
Boynton
there's
Beach was
two.
right on the
There's
Intercoastal.
Mark Reynolds.
So we don't know where you want me to go, do you?
Okay. But he's in.
Hello,
Hi, Mark.
hello. Hi there.
Hello.
There's
Mark Reynolds is the Lord.
what's happening.
Hey, not much. How are you?
Never been better.
Excellent.
Are you on the naughty or nice list this year?
Oh. I better not say we're recording.
All right.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, hon.
You bet.
Bye.
See ya.
So we're going from the January 13th to the 18th. So could you do that DRC reading the
Yeah.
13th?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't gone anywhere since COVID. I mean, 2 years,
Wow.
except Moab.
Yeah, yeah. Good for you guys. That'll be fun.
Yeah, he's gonna play lacrosse, so I can go to the beach or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, he still plays. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, he plays every
That's true.
Oh my gosh, look at that cat. What is that cat's name?
His name is Lefty.
Hey, Lexi.
His brother's name is Poncho.
He
Yeah,
does be on TV.
come here. I'll show you the other one. Here,
I am too. They're hiding.
the other one.
Aw.
Oh.
Oh, little Puss in Boots. Just white whiskers.
Yep. He doesn't like Zoom as much as Lefty does.
Mine like it, but only while they're walking across the computer.
Yeah. Oh, they probably did that earlier. Lefty did.
Hurry.
Hey, Joyce.
Hey, Bob. I wanted to be on time for sure.
How are you feeling?
Uh,
Okay.
you know, meh,
How,
meh, meh.
how are you
Yeah.
feeling? Sounds like
I'll
you had a
be
fun day.
I'll be fine. Just isn't fun, you know.
It's not fun.
All right. So, Bob, did you just send this report?
Yeah, and I have a bunch of pictures, but they're too big to send, and I can't. My scanner doesn't work for some reason. I don't know why. So
Okay, to heck with it. All right.
it's just something we could talk about at the end.
Okay.
Betsy?
Yeah. Hey, John, listen, I am like ready to go. I'm 3 minutes early.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I've got like 6 o'clock right now, so maybe the clock on your thing is a little slow or
No,
something.
no, I've been here for 3 minutes.
Oh, I see. Okay, you got
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
This is the
Got
first
it.
one here.
Okay. Well, we'll give you extra credit for that one then.
Oh, goody, goody.
Okay, so if everybody's on, we ready to start?
Sure.
Okay, can we please take the roll?
Sure. Joan Eaton,
Here.
John Platt, Cindy Neely,
Here.
Betsy Blakesley,
Here.
Mark Reynolds,
Here,
Bob Hamilton,
here.
Frank Ganzer.
Okay. Mark, you good with me running this one?
What's that?
Are you good with me running this one, Mark?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Are you good with me running this meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, speak up. Can we get approval of the agenda?
To add one item at the end,
Yes,
discussion on doing a final DRC review of a project before it gets a certificate of occupancy.
okay. But is there initials for that? Because it's the same as COA.
No, it's
Oh,
just, yeah,
COO.
occupancy certificate, maybe?
COO. Okay, gotcha.
CO.
And then also never mind, we'll do it when we get to the Bighorn Crossing thing. It's part of that, so I don't think we need to add it. Anybody got anything else? Do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept the agenda as amended. I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. And then is anyone on for audience business? No? Okay.
No.
So old and new business, Joyce Smith, 926 Rose Street. And who do we have on for that?
Joyce.
Joyce, okay.
We can't hear you. You're muted.
How's that?
Much better.
Okay, that's it. Hi there. Okay, please state your name and,
Expecting to join us?
I'm sorry?
Joyce? I
I
think she's got her sound off.
She's ignoring
I'm
me.
Brian Stanley. I'm Joyce's husband.
Okay. Hi, Brian. You want to state your name and the address? Maybe send her a text or something.
Yeah, Brian Stanley. Brian
Okay.
Stanley, that's the 926 Rose Street in Georgetown.
Okay. And please just tell us a little bit about your project here.
So again, we were expecting Tom Peterson to join us here, but the idea was we're going to be moving back into Georgetown. This is Joyce's hometown, and moving back into Georgetown. We're planning on this fall, and the crazy supply and demand chain problem kind of caught us off, and the cost went through the roof, and then we couldn't get things, including roofing. and so we're rescheduling again for March. So the idea here is to get set up for that. The basic outline of the project is we have an existing area in the back of the house that we want to add on to and put an addition onto the house. And at the same time, do some cosmetic renovations to the old section of the house, which is plastic siding and some kind of ugly stuff there to sort of rehistoricize, if you will, the old section and then put the new section in, which is in compliance.
Okay. Now, I do recall us doing a preliminary on this, so I see that you did make a few changes on these plans from that discussion. So this looks nice. So if you guys were you able to text her or anything, give her a call and see if she can?
I see her on.
Yeah.
I'm not
she
sure.
doesn't have her sound on apparently.
She has to
She
has to hit her mute button to unmute herself.
Yeah.
I think she can't even hear us. Joyce, can you hear us?
No, I don't think she does.
Oh. And I'm not in the same building with her, so.
Joyce.
Somebody do sign
Hi,
language.
Joyce.
Joyce, unmute.
Does anybody know ASL?
I do, but I don't know that. I can send her a text real quick if you want to give me your phone number. Do you not have your
I'm
phone?
sending her now, and I'm.
Oh, okay.
I'm sending her.
Okay.
She
Well,
says she's there.
okay. Tell her there's a button to join with audio or to unmute. She's working on it. Okay.
So was that the kind of basic information you need? So Tom has drawn up the
Yes.
plans, and as you said, during the preliminary review, we made some. You guys made some comments about some siding that was kind of. We had three types of siding, which looked a little bit ungangly and definitely not historical. And some of the window styles were updated to more of a compliant look. And other than that, from the external perspective, I think all we did was just add a little bit of siding to the outside of the house. So really, from the external perspective, that was it. Most of it has been concerned with us is making it work for us as a family.
No, I specifically recall, we talked about doors and things in the back, and on the south side at those back doors that come down, and there's 2 windows now. There were sort of 3 odd shaped little windows or something. I think that's one of the changes I noticed for sure, but the board and batten looks nice.
I just got a message that Joyce Smith left.
Oh, okay. Maybe she's going to try to sign back in. Maybe she's having trouble.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start. I mean, I'm sorry she's not here, but obviously you can do this, and then she can add comments if she's got some when she gets back with us. So does anybody else have anything specific that they see before we get started, or shall we just start?
So the original house is only that one front section, correct?
Yes.
Because on one of these, where is it? It shows the proposed addition as just the 2-story section, but actually part of the 1-story section is also a proposed addition, isn't it? We can't hear you now.
Okay, how's that?
That's much better.
So the existing house is the front of the house is the living room and the bedroom, which faces the street, and then there's the kitchen and a second bedroom behind that. There's going to be no changes to that other than the use of the rooms, and then the access to the first floor of the new addition will be just right outside of that. So really, there's really a very minimal structural change or floor plan change to the old floor plan. It'll be exactly the same shape, size, and dimensions, except for the moving of a couple of windows, just switching some of the ones that are already there, and then changing the siding to a more more pleasing looking thing than plastic siding.
Yeah, so it is just the 2-story part that's the new part.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
We're expanding the kitchen a little bit, and the only outside effect of that is what's now the big picture window on the south elevation will be slightly shallower, slightly higher, same height, but a different depth to get the sink in underneath the window.
Yeah. Yeah. And the materials, we have hardy board with a 4.5-inch exposure. And we have the vertical cement board looking like the board and bat on that lower south section.
Yes, they were in the original, the preliminary we looked at, we had 3 different styles there, and we reduced it to those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks a lot better, I think.
Yes. And we have corner trim on everything that is the 3.5-inch. Mark, is 3.5-inch what we do for corner trim, or do we do larger?
Well, standard 1x4 is 3.5. So.
Okay. All right.
That's the idea. Yeah.
A 1x4 is 3.5.
Of course.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Unless you get into the hardy board products, and then they're 4-inch.
And, of course, one of the issues we face is we really don't know what's going to be available at the time of construction. So that's a little scary for us. We don't even know if we can get roofing yet. So, this is what we're going to submit for the building plan, and cross our fingers.
Right. If you have to change materials, you will need to come, I gotta block my light. You will need to come back and let us know.
Sure.
That's because materials are key to it. I was
Yes.
looking
One
on,
thing I wanted to say before we actually get started here with our review, and we can certainly go ahead and do the review. You mentioned wanting to start in March. And I know with materials availability and stuff, I understand that if you might delay that or something. Once we sign this certificate, you have 120 days to get started. And if it expires, you would, I mean, it's not a big deal, but you would have to come back again if you don't start in 120 days. So that gives you till like mid-April to get
Yeah,
started.
it's just it's a calculated gamble. You know, when 2x4s went from $3 a piece to 15, and
Yes.
we could not get some of the HVAC stuff. We said, well, we'll wait, but we're
Sure.
really going to hope. And Tom's going to take this. You know, when you guys when and if you approve it, then we're going to go into the building plans and do the same thing and just go ahead and roll toward March 1st, and hopefully we don't get any ugly surprises between now and then. It's a calculated gamble, because if we don't do all that and then we're ready to go, then we've got to start the process. So
Sure.
I'm just hoping that the supply issue will resolve itself.
Well, it's not really a problem with us. You would just have to come back in to renew it. But of course, if we do it once, we'll do it again. I just wanted to let you know. So
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and roll. Oh, hi, Joyce.
Hi.
Hey.
She's made it. Okay, so does anybody else have any other questions, or shall we just kind of start through the regular procedure and we can do questions as we go along? Then I think Tom answered most of the questions the first time on the preliminary,
yeah,
so
I
there
think we did
shouldn't
too.
really be anything too big.
And
Okay.
I have his, we've met with him between then and now several times, of course, and I have the latest drawings that he submitted to you guys too. So, and I think I know pretty much all the detail here. And if I can't, we'll just call on him to follow up.
Yeah. Well,
I think we're fine. It's well detailed.
yeah, he
great.
is aware of most of the stuff we would discuss. Okay.
I'm on page 85 in book 2,
Okay.
which is new additions. It says that essentially we're doing exactly what you say you are doing, and you are doing is considering the effect of the addition on an original structure, and it does not obscure or destroy the character of the original building. And no, that's A. And so page 87 is in section 2 on new additions, chapter 9, section 2A, and A2, which says it's, we're not trying to create an ornate Victorian thing in back either. We're trying to make something that's compatible, but not something that speaks its own language. And A3, B says it should be visually subordinate, but what's more important is B1, I think, that it respects the proportions, massing, and siting of the building. It's almost impossible in this case to be visually subordinate.
It kind of is, from the fact that the original house is closest to the street, and it's, it stays looking the way it always has. And then the rest of the addition is behind it. So
yeah, they
I
didn't
think
build on.
as best you can by adding a 2-story addition.
Yeah, they didn't build on top of the old house.
And one of the things originally, this is when Joyce actually lived there, it had board and bat siding, and it got covered up with what's over there now, which is this plastic horizontal siding. And the idea is to bring it back to the original look and then match the new section to that. So I think we're going to enhance the original look and then match that with the new.
I think
Yeah.
That's the intention anyway. That's what we're trying to do.
The rectangular building, the existing building runs parallel to the street that originally had board and bat siding on it?
Yeah, we got an oil painting of it, not an oil painting, but a painting of it, and that's the way it looks. And it was, I think Joyce actually by hand applied linseed oil to that. Joyce, if you want to testify.
Well,
Every year that warm linseed oil. Oh my God, what a mess that was. But the house was actually more like the houses that in the drawings, because when this house was built, it was built on the existing structure, but it actually had 2 stories and it had another section that was added on the side. I have a painting of that as well. I don't have any original drawings, but I do have a painting of that particular building that my cousin got, because it originally belonged to Craig Abrahamson. And my dad bought it from him and then built the structure that's there now on top of that.
That's Craig Abrahamson Senior.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
The right generation.
Yeah, we're talking a long time ago.
We're talking a long time
ago. 64, 62, maybe. It was
that's
that
about
was done. Yeah.
If I understand you correctly, then Joyce, the brown structure in the back was the original structure, and then the white structure in the front was added at some later date, and this would be like a third.
I believe that the original house was that section in the front, and that back piece that make the L shape where the kitchen and stuff is, that was added on later. I don't know when exactly, and that was before my dad got a hold of it. So I don't know what the history is before Dad had it, really.
So this is phase 3 of that property.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
At least.
we call it a century plan.
Yeah.
all
I think the board and batten on the side there still is a nice homage without having to do board and batten all the way around.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I would go on with the sightings that the B1, same page, and definitely B3 and B4. And this goes on to the page 88. D, the materials should be similar to those D1 seen historically, and D2 matching the lap dimension, and that is sort of important because buildings look very different if you suddenly give them a wide lap. They look very different. So,
And that was part of the comments that were made last time if you look at the south elevation, the left side of the house is the existing look and feel. The middle was the second type, and then the third section to the right hand of the south elevation was a new look, and we changed that all to be uniform.
Yeah. But those are the sightings I have.
Okay. I guess anybody have anything else? I can't think of anything else needs to be covered because we've gone over with Tom specifics on windows and things he knows.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, well, I would move that we approve the application of Joyce Smith for, where am I? 926 Rose Street, and that our certificate indicate that it is as presented in this set of plans.
Wonderful.
There are no
Okay.
stipulations.
And we're approving that as of this date, then that's good for you to give you through mid-April? Okay. All right, great. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it, Mark.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mark.
Aye. Against? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Really excited.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're moving in too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the spring.
Yeah. 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 Thank
All
you.
right.
And
Uh-huh.
we'll receive the certificate by email or mail or,
You can come to town hall. I try to get the paperwork back over there by after lunch tomorrow by 1 or
Okay.
so. And
okay,
if you want to talk to our town administrator is interim at the moment, so he's there at the first part of the week as far as building permits and that type of stuff. If you need to talk to him, he's either by email or Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
okay,
But you
all
can
right,
stop by tomorrow afternoon or wait until Monday, either one.
okay. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And actually, Susan or Jen, I'm sorry, Jen still on?
Yeah.
I don't have the documents, the certificates and things with me, so we didn't. get
Okay.
those. So
I'll get those for you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll do them tomorrow. Okay, great. All right, so next, here's my Bighorn Crossing project. And is Garrett on?
Yep, I'm on.
Okay. Hi, Garrett.
Hi.
I can't see everybody all at once on mine, so I never know who's on. Okay, so we're back. First up, we wanted to ask you if you are aware or let you know that on July 26th. Okay, so in 2019, I don't have the date on here right now. Do you know it offhand, Jen, when the update was done on this?
I think it was 2020, February,
That's-
February 13th, 2020.
Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, February 13th, in 2020, they actually came to make some changes on the site plan for this project, which was approved. So what we need to know now is, are you still planning to use that? Are you even aware of that? And if not, are we going back to the original approved one in 2017? So that's where we need to start tonight. Are you aware of those changes?
I am, yes. Those changes that were made were mostly updating the 3-plexes to 4-plexes. And so the site plan that I'm working on does align with the one that was approved back in February.
Actually, the February site plan changed buildings from 4s to 3s.
Yeah.
Not 3s to 4s. And
Oh,
the one
really?
you gave, yes, it changed building 8 from a 4-unit building to a 3-unit building, building 14, 11, and 12, all from 4s to 3s.
You're right. You're right.
Right now, the site plan that we have as an approved site plan is that plan,
You know, you're
not
talking.
the 2017 plan. And the one
When I looked at it, my eyes interpreted it as 3 to 4. But you're right. It clearly shows 4 units to 3 units. I'm looking at it over here on my other screen.
So we wanted to clear up that you're not talking about that plan then. You're going back to the original plan. So we need to discuss that briefly as far as
That's
back
right.
to those details, because there was actually some buildings moved.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have the approved site plan if you want to see that.
The
Can't remember.
original?
No, the one that is the most up to date for today.
But wait a minute, the only one that we have that's approved is the one from February of 20.
Yeah.
There has been no, from the town's point of view, at least this is what our research has shown thus far,
Mhm.
there's no return to the 2017 plan. And my
There's no
understanding
approval.
is that a new site plan is in process. Am I?
You're right. Yeah, we are going through the minor subdivision process right now. And as far as the new site plan, that will be included in the subdivision process. So correct me if I'm wrong, but tonight we're talking about building number 2 the design intent on the exterior, right? And then eventually we're going to get to the part where we talk about the site plan change that was made.
I don't know how we discuss buildings when we don't have a clear site plan.
Is building 2 the one that's already built currently?
No,
No.
no.
Okay, well, before we even talk about any new buildings, we still need to discuss the ones that are there now. And as we said last time, if you will look at the approved original plan and those buildings and what's there now, that's not what's there. There's a lot of detail, trim, wood trim, niceties, you know, window divisions, the doors were supposed to be different on each unit, that type of thing. And that building is not reflecting that. So before a new building is even discussed, I want to know that those buildings that are already there are going to look like they're supposed to. And when.
Oh, I see. The buildings, the 3 townhomes that were already built.
Yep. Yep.
I gotcha. And I can't answer that because I thought that was new ownership. I thought that was going to the town attorney. Correct me if I'm wrong.
About the townhouses, not the apartments.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize that the townhomes were an issue. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not following, the buildings, the townhomes we looked at last time were plans for new buildings.
Correct.
That they had submitted. And we found
Yeah.
that they didn't match what we were expecting based on our previous review of the townhome designs.
I see what you mean. So you're saying the existing townhomes that were built never actually, they were approved, they were signed off, but they don't actually meet the original COA intent. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I don't know, they weren't signed off by us. That's a problem with the system. But they
Okay.
are not what they were approved to be.
I wish I could even answer that. I have to talk to the owners of Centennial Fund to figure out what their answer will be.
Because you're submitting for block 2, the same plans.
The same plans as what, Cindy?
The same plans as the plans that were submitted for the other ones.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are the same
And
plans.
they are the same plans, but
Mhm.
they say they weren't even built to those plans. So
Okay.
and I'm not sure. I would sort of like
don't
to
think
ask
that's true.
Steve, why are we doing this when we don't have an established plat at this point?
You know, I had mine because I talked with Steve, the town administrator, about this after our last meeting. And I think I left those downstairs. If you look at the plans we approved originally at the front of the townhouses, the way they looked, because we compared them last time to the new plans that they were going to change. There are, and we discussed it even, the stucco portions of the townhouse buildings, those had divided lights and a different door. There's wood trim on the front of the eaves. There's different shapes on some of the little front porch, you know, if you'll call it that. There's a lot of wood detailing on the fronts of some of the buildings. There's just basically none of that was done on those buildings that are there now. They're not finished.
Okay, I totally misunderstood. I thought we were describing the difference between what we submitted and the original COA.
We actually talked about both of those things because
Okay.
the ones that you submitted didn't actually, they were different from the new ones. And I guess we're willing to discuss some changes on them, but what's built needs to be what was approved. What's already built needs to be what was approved, and we expect that. So that's what I was saying, that you can't just change the plans and say, this is what we're going to do now without us reviewing them. But we also already approved those buildings to look a certain way, and they don't look that way.
I see. Is there any way we can isolate these two things where I can move forward on building 2 and also try to correct if it's possible, correct what was done with the existing buildings?
Well, if you can't build two, I would say it's going to be possible because, if you want to build two, that's what needs to happen to the ones that are there now. You can't just not do it. And it wasn't you. We know that. We know it wasn't you. So I'm sorry you're the one that's dealing with it now. But they weren't finished basically the way they were supposed to. And I don't see going forward with this project and everything just being, oh, well, we had to change that or we just decided not to do that. That's not how we roll here. It's got to be what we approved. So the precedent they have set by finishing off those buildings and saying, well, we're done with those, we're moving on, is it's not reasonable.
I see.
Let me clarify though, at least from what we understood from the last meeting was that we were talking about the fact that on lot 5, which is the construction of the new fourplexes, that the commission was concerned about a change in what they had approved in the original design. And so our efforts were to come back and say, hey, we understand that we've gone from modular to stick-built, and now they've gone back to that original premise on that design on lot 5. The COA that you're discussing tonight has expired for those pieces of property on the other side of the road that they're going to build brand new. And while you have frustration with regard to what was already constructed, I'm not quite sure that that's in fairness what we're discussing. That we're discussing about the renewal of an expired COA on lot 5 block 2. I thought, and if I'm wrong, then that's okay. But Garrett and I and everybody else has been moving forward with the premise that we're talking about something that has not yet been constructed, and the commission's desire to either go back to what the original design was or to further critique what had been modified and changed as we went from modular to stick built. Am I incorrect there?
No, I think you're right. My frustration with this is this committee has spent a lot of time reviewing this project. It's been years. And we've put a lot of effort into it. Everybody's had a lot of input. And so what the approval for the COA was what we wanted to see. And I understand now about holding up things to fix stuff, but if they have finished buildings that aren't up to what they were supposed to be and we let them go ahead and build more buildings, are they going to look like they're supposed to? I want to be sure we don't just continue on and end up with something slapped up that was good enough and close enough or not close enough to what it was supposed to be, because otherwise there was no point in even reviewing it.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Madam Chair. I've been a frustration of ours, and one that I know that Bob and I have discussed, and we're also trying to see if there's a possible interest in trying to maybe remedy that. Yeah, the commission may proceed any way it wishes. I just, out of fairness to Garrett, and I think he's been excellent here.
Yes, I agree.
Is that I think that his anticipation was that we were concentrating on lot 4 block 2 or lot 5 block 2 with the new construction and making sure the plans and designs were in accordance with what the DRC would approve. I'm not sure, as Garrett has indicated, I'm not quite sure he's here to, and I'm not quite sure he's even in position to be able to try to remedy what was already constructed. I think that there may be, and Joan, as you are all aware, I've talked to Jerry about this, and we're trying to come up with some reasonable solution, how we can go back and get those things that we want, that you had already approved, done on those existing townhomes that were constructed on the other side of the street.
Okay, are those no longer owned by the same people now?
They're all sold.
Well,
those are the ones that are sold, or was it the apartments that were sold?
The apartments were sold.
That's what
They're sold to individual owners.
The townhouses are individual owners.
Okay,
Yes,
but
they're
the
also
The
same,
burden
not
goes
the
back to the
individual
people who
owners.
bought them and the builder.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I will tell you that, and I talked about that with Jerry, even with the changeover in the apartments, because I know you had some issues there. you can, the town can go back. It's just, I don't know what the enforcement mechanism is going to look like, because truthfully, what you usually do is you hold up the issuance of the CO before all those things that you guys have come up with, but we don't have safe built at the ready to be able to stand and do that. And I thought, and so we do have the authority to go back to whom owns this property now and say, hey, you might not have necessarily bought what was approved, and where we can force them to go back and make those changes, I'm not quite sure yet.
Steve, who issues the CO? Because
the town does. Either myself or Jen can do it on my behalf, but
so it's not safe built.
No, safe build tells us that everything's all in order. The plumbing inspection's done, electrical inspections, it's constructed, it won't fall down next week, et cetera, et cetera. But Safe Build doesn't issue that CO. A representative from the town does. And I think, and Bob's going to talk about this later on. And I know that you, Sydney, were in on some of that discussion yesterday morning, but that would have been nice to have had something in place to be able to take into consideration on those units that are already constructed. Hey, this is what DRC said. This is those components that we wanted in here, and we won't issue a CO until those things have been done. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So
at least this
don't have the mechanism for that to occur.
A temporary TCO on it.
Yeah.
So they could at least move in.
Yeah.
Then make them finish it before they get a CO.
Yeah. No, I agree, Mark, and I've done that a lot of times.
Yeah. But anyway, that's not what we're here for tonight, basically.
Garrett's here tonight to try to get approval for 4 units.
Right.
On block 2.
Yep.
That is across the street from the ones that have been built.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And it does not matter that he's operating off of a plat that isn't finalized.
No, I don't think so, because the design component, is something he needs as he moves forward the building permit. They already have submitted an application for the conceptual review, which DRC will see soon. And then we'll move forward to the final plat to create those sublots. So I don't think that holds you up as far as allowing them to know whether you guys agree with the design components of what's being proposed.
And these designs, Garrett, you sent 2 sets of them, are exactly the same as the 2017 designs?
Yes, to my knowledge, they're exactly the same as the ones that were approved before.
And Cindy, what we had, Jen pulled up the original file, and I think that she probably has marked that as 2017 and then 2021, so that you could go side by side to make sure that you agree with that or not.
Bob has a question.
Yes, the last meeting, we looked at a set of drawings that were submitted at our request because we wanted to see the actual construction drawings. And the drawings we were looking at last time were construction drawings for a new fourplex. What we noted on going through those construction drawings for that new fourplex was that there were significant discrepancies between those drawings and what the renderings that we had approved, which basically are what we have in front of us now for a fourplex back in a year or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. I don't recall any discussion about the existing threeplex that's already built. My record, and I had looked at that for compliance, months ago, and my take on it is they're pretty much in compliance with the threeplex design that was approved. I think the things that might have been missing might have been, a rock planter or something like that. But by and large, they were in line with what we had approved for the threeplex that was the first thing that was built. The big things were the garage roof on the fourplex was the garage roof arrangement, and then the front facade arrangements, different varying roofs over the over the entry doors and variation on the entry doors and the kind of details that we're seeing in the original design. So
Bob, can I ask, are you saying that these drawings that we have are not matched by the construction plans?
yes,
Then if we were to go with these drawings, Garrett, how would you
Yes.
construct
So
them?
you need to update your construction drawings.
we are going to update the construction drawing. So upon approval from the DRC tonight, if possible, I will talk to my architecture team and I will have them update the permit set, the construction set, Bob, and I will have them update it exactly the way that you're seeing it in front of you today.
Okay, because we already approved these drawings.
Right. Well, this is just a renewal, I guess, if that's, for compliance all purposes.
But what happened to us?
What you have is you have a COA that is expired. The regulations state that if they're not moving forward with the building permit within 180 days after the original COA, that automatically expires. Our concern was having Garrett come back and show this commission that they're going back to what you already had approved. And realizing that, they did submit plans for construction permits and stuff like that aren't consistent with the drawings that you see before you tonight. So that really was where we were at, was to do a renewal of the COA, but prove to the commission, unlike what you saw at the last meeting, that they are going back to what you originally had approved.
That's right.
I think
we want to see those revised construction plans.
Right.
That's what happened on the apartments.
Apartment
We
houses.
approved something, they went and did construction plans and built something totally different than what was approved. And we don't want to fall into that trap again. So that's why we requested construction drawings for review to renew the COA. So we're kind of right back to where we were 2 or 3 weeks ago. This is what the building 2 rendition is, what we're looking for to see in the construction plans.
Mm-hmm. Isn't there a mechanism to get one more opportunity to submit the construction set before we get an actual building permit? That's our last stage, right? Where you can take a look, or is that something completely different?
Yeah,
I think that's what we're asking for. Yeah.
I think there is a way, because I think Bob's point, we really also got stung on the apartment houses. We had approved a design.
Mm-hmm.
And then the design moved and from company to company to company as far as who was going to construct it. And the people who ended up constructing it presented to us the plans they constructed it from, which did not relate to the design we had approved. So
They were not the approved.
somehow we can say that, yes, we did approve these and we're willing to renew a COA.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to make sure you're going to build it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
so somehow we have to have a check off at the point that this COA is contingent upon the fact that the building plans match it. So those building plans sort of have to show up in town hall before someone can actually give you the piece of paper for the COA. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So as long as what I'm hearing from the commission tonight is that you like what you see on these drawings, I just need, even if it's a verbal, I need to be able to instruct my architect team to now update the construction set of drawings to get that back to you, even if we have to go back to DRC approval on the COA December 30th. That's okay with me. We're already concurrently going through, like Steve said, the conceptual plan review. And my understanding is we can't even get a COA, the document, until we go through that process. So it's a little cart before the horse right now, but we are going to be working on some things in the next month. my team's going to be working on updating the drawing set in the next month so that we're ready for the next DRC meeting.
Well, I think we approved them to begin with. So the idea of renewing them is that's
Okay.
there. We just don't want to get burned twice.
Absolutely. Totally understand.
Renewing them isn't the issue. It's if they're going to be built this way this time.
Okay. Well,
But
And
that,
ties us to the construction drawings.
right.
Our decision ought to be based on the
Building
construction
permit
drawings.
issues. DRC needs to sign off on the construction drawings that they reflect what's been agreed to in the POA was issued.
okay. So my goal would be, Bob, to get you a set of the construction drawings updated to match the already approved CO that's expired by the next DRC meeting.
There we go. That works.
Got it.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Garrett.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, blame the people before you.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not yours.
Yeah.
No, I blame myself because I'm not quite sure that I anticipated what it is you guys wanted fully prior to tonight's meeting. Otherwise, I think Garrett would have been on it.
Oh, no, it's actually just, it's a bad issue. It's unfortunate all the way around. And I am sorry, Garrett's the one now in the middle of it because, you're new. I get the feeling, I don't know if every time it gets passed on to someone, they don't really explain to you what our part is in this, that it's important, or if they actually just say, don't worry about that, just do what you want. But as it happens, it is very important and it does have to happen that way. So we appreciate you going through the hoops here with us.
Well,
and you'll be back.
And when you build them,
I'll be
right,
back.
the people across the street are going to say, how come we didn't get one of those?
Exactly. Why doesn't ours look like that? I
That
know.
would be pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for guiding me through it, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank
For
you.
Thank you.
I do have one more question though. When it comes to the design intent for these other buildings, so we're really just discussing building 2 here, but what do you need to see from us? Because we have 12 other buildings that we'd like to get approval on in the near future. So as far as the design intent, there was a question brought up last time about some variation between buildings. So I know you don't want them all to look exactly the same, or maybe you do. I'd like to know how you want to see that, so I can get started with my team on getting those pulled together so we can, and do we have to get a COA for every building? Or if I submit the next 12 in one and you guys like them, can I get one COA for all 12?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So what are you thinking, big differences in them? Or, I mean, they're all basically going to be these 2-story, they're going to be similar units, but just a different facade type?
Yes, they're very similar on the exterior, but I thought somebody mentioned in the last DRC meeting that you guys are going to require some slight differences so that they all don't look the same. And maybe I misunderstood.
Well, yes and no. That's actually on each particular building with 4 units in it. We didn't want them to all, look the same. So the difference in door styles, window styles, porch roofs, that type of thing. I think, and anybody else is welcome to speak up here, if the buildings vary slightly, but all still have a nice cohesiveness. So you don't want to look like some were built one year and then somebody else came in and built some and they don't fit in. They all need to go together, but I don't think they have to be exactly the same. Does anybody else have a feeling about that?
Well, true. And when you've got 4 of them, they don't always have to be in the same order. Because you have 4 units and each unit has something distinctive, and so, but they don't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4 all the time. They can be 1, 3, 2, 4 and 1, 4, 3, 2, and
I gotcha.
and give it just a little bit of variety in appearance, so
Gotcha.
it doesn't look like it's just stamped out.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like an army base. I've lived on a lot of army bases, and in federal housing. I know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, every now and then a little switch up, a little stone here and there, or some paling and stuff. You know, on these drawings, that gray keeps it looks to me like shingles, but it must be siding. You don't have shingles on any of these, do you?
On the roof, yes,
No, on the wall.
but not on the wall.
Hey, don't be smart with me. No, the gray on my drawings kind of has a look like shingles, but you're not doing shingles on the siding, are you?
No,
It must
no.
be siding. Okay, no,
Let's see here. What is the gray E008? Looks like it's a cement board vertical pattern board.
It's got a lot of shading.
What it is.
Okay, so yes, your question about how many we'll approve, whatever you can submit to us at a time, we can approve.
Okay.
So you don't have to come in for every building and
Perfect.
The one thing though, just to remember is the timing of the issuance of the COA. And that is that it expires 180 days after the issuance if you haven't pulled a building permit. And then the building permits are only good for 6 months at a time. So if I remember your timeline, we're not talking about a schedule for construction that would occur all in 2022. So if you came with all 12 buildings at the same time, you've got a little game to play to make sure all the timing works out. Just wanted to be upfront with that. Unless you're going to build them all in 2022. But if I remember right in your conceptual application, that wasn't the timing that you were anticipating for those other 12.
Is there any chance we can extend without an expiration and going through a renewal process?
On the COA?
Yes.
There isn't anything that contemplates that. The key event is that you have 180 days to pull the building permit. So the thing is that you'd have to play the game on the building permit side and ask for the extensions on the building permits, I guess.
How long do I have to build with the building permit once I pull it?
It's 6 months, if I remember right, before you have to go renewal. And I don't know how if it's like what we did in Canyon, it's not uncommon to issue multiple renewals for, I got a project of $1 million project up on the hill. It took him 4 years to build. So.
Okay. I think I get
just
it.
trying to give you a heads up a little bit.
Okay.
I think we should clarify that so that it's clear. For each building when I build this, I'm talking a fourplex or a threeplex, or you're not building any individuals. As long as they're identical, you could have buildings 4, 5, and 7, they're identical, one set of elevations for that, it gets approved, then we're good to go. If there's a difference, we need another set of elevations showing what those differences are, even if they're pretty minor. We don't care what goes on inside the building. It's just it's really the exterior elevation drawings that we're interested in.
That's crystal clear. Thank you, Bob.
Okay, and as long as you're not changing them in between renewals, we won't make the renewal. The part of the problem was you did have changes this time when you wanted to renew that original COA. So we had to review all that. If you come to us with exactly what was approved last time, if your COA has expired and you didn't get started on it, then renewal is not a painful process. It's just a technicality. So no problem. But a lot of times because so much time goes by, there ends up being changes in things. And that's why we do that.
So I have another question. If you submit for all 12 of these different sections, you're going to be submitting variations in the 12.
Correct. That's right.
Okay. So the story I'll tell you is about my husband going to visit friends at West Point, and they said, well, just come on in and, get a beer out of the refrigerator and we'll be there at 5 o'clock. So Don went in, got a beer, laid down on the couch, took a nap, woke up, looked at the pictures in the room and realized he was in somebody else's house. So, which in the Army, no big deal, but that's what we're trying to avoid.
Good.
We're trying to avoid
that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll make it clear to my architect that we want them to look a little bit different.
Yeah. Betsy, maybe we can put numbers on them or something.
Maybe, but that doesn't really work either. if everything looks precisely the same, you can walk into anybody's quarters.
Mhm.
Okay, so you get the picture there, Garrett, or are you
Thank
good?
you. I'm good.
Okay, thanks so much for your patience. We appreciate you coming back.
Thank you.
Are
Appreciate
you coming
everyone.
back?
And we'll see you in December.
Yeah, December, was it 27th or the 30th? I don't recall.
30th.
30th.
30th,
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Garrett.
God, I know he thinks we're just torturing him.
No, he seems like a very reasonable guy.
Well, you know, I think he knew what he was getting into when he stepped into this project, that there was a few issues. Okay, anybody else have anything? Sorry, I muddled that up, but I guess I'm still on my soapbox about the other ones. So
Oh,
sorry about that.
you did a good job.
Great to be on your soapbox.
Don't mess with me, people. You know how I get.
That's right. I mean, I was 3 minutes late to the last meeting and it was not pretty.
We marked you tardy. Actually, Betsy, if you'd ever been on another meeting, I've done that to other people too. But it's it's a joke.
I'm absolutely an on-time person, so I respect your
it happens, you know. I've come up and couldn't get the thing signed on it, and I'm, you know, my computer's messing up or something. I'm like, well, for crying out loud. Okay,
so when he submits for the 12, he's going to submit variation.
Well,
I'm not sure how different, but theoretically, yeah, it would be nice to get maybe 3 or 4 plans that are slightly different. I don't expect them to all be radically different, but maybe, you know, enough difference in them that each building doesn't look, and you know, I don't think they're hideous if they're done the way they're supposed to be done. The ones down there are not great.
But they weren't.
So, yeah,
so
I think
Bob, so we've got Bob's to do.
Oh yeah, Bob, sorry. So, and this comes right up, this follow-up, this issue here. A final DRC review before a COO is issued, or the CO is issued. I thought we had actually discussed this once before, and I don't know if the Board of Selectmen were supposed to have to consider this or what, but that we could get on the final permit sign off, so one of us can, or all of us can review before we sign off and say, yeah, they did what they were supposed to, because lots of people don't.
It's right. And Steve and I, and Cindy and Mark were there as well. We had a brief discussion about this issue. You know, how do we make it a formal requirement that on major projects, which are defined in our COA application, that there is a final review by and sign off by the DRC, representative from the DRC. And what prompted this to come up at this point in time is I had a call from Jeff. Yeah, Jeff. Building Fred Elm's house up there earlier this week, wanting to know about occupancy permit and, you know, who signs it, you know, who issues it and all that. And, you know, he came to me because he knew he had some DRC issues, like painting the pipes coming through the roof, which he's done.
Yes.
And, you know, the colored aggregate and the concrete and all that kind of stuff. So he was asking me about, you know, when would we review it, thinking that the DRC was going to review that. And I said, well, I'll be happy to take a look at the DRC stuff, but the Safe Built does all the safety inspections and signs all those things off. And then that goes to the town, and the town issues an occupancy certificate. That's kind of the process.
So what we are actually doing at that stage is confirming that what we approved is consistent with the construction plans. That's the total job we're doing at that point.
No.
We're confirming that what got built is
Yep.
consistent with what we approved. It's past the construction plans. It's before what we're proposing is before an occupancy permit is issued.
Oh, an occupancy permit.
The DRC signs off on, you know, buy and sell.
But how about this middle step? How about the construction plans having to match what we approved?
Well, I think on major projects, we ought to put something in the code that gives us that right to request a copy of those plans to be reviewed, just to verify that intermediate step.
It's good. It's a
Because
good
one of
idea.
the things that happens is that, quite frankly, Safe Built does not, to be very frank about it, they don't necessarily feel that they are enforcing what the DRC is saying. They enforce the building code, rather stringently, and as we would hope that they did. But they don't tend to take into consideration, even though, Jen sends them a copy of what we've said, and it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, and pursuant to the municipal code, they're empowered to do so, but it's not one of the things that they're going to do or interested in doing. And so I think that if the commission, and I believe you probably do, has a desire to add this extra step of protection, then I think it's incumbent upon you to direct me to talk to the town attorney and see what we can do with the municipal code to try to make that happen. My only concern is that I think Bob's a great person to be able to do that at this point in time, is that I don't know that that's sustainable, down into the future. And so we'd have to decide whether it's a member of DRC or what it is. There's got to be some mechanism that can be sustainable on into the future. But at this point in time, you guys are putting a lot of work into it. But after the issuance of the COA, they can pretty well do what they want to do as far as the building inspector is concerned, because they're only worried about health safety issues.
Yeah, and they have examples of that they can point to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That have been done that way. So how come they got to do that and we didn't get to do that?
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work.
Well, in past history, when we had our own building inspector, that building inspector enforced whatever we decided as a DRC group. But
so for years we
lost that ability to do that.
Yeah.
And it's when we went to a contract building inspector that this started to fall apart. Jen wants to say something.
Okay, Jen.
I think it's a good idea that somebody from DRC checks it before, when I'm submitting the building permit to Safe Built, just as you're saying, so they match, because if we do it after it's built, it's going to be too late. And then I also just wanted to say that I do submit the DRC COA and the decision form, but with the building permit documents, but hopefully they check those.
Well,
Yeah.
but they don't really.
Usually I don't.
In fairness to Safe Built, if you look at the COA and the documents that go with it, it may not be clear to them exactly what we're looking for. So I really think we'd be well advised to have the authority within the DRC to do a final review of the documents that ultimately get permitted for construction.
The construction documents.
And do a walk down at the end to make sure things are there. And it can be done by a DRC member or somebody that the DRC authorizes to do that. It doesn't have to be a member. It can be somebody expressed that.
Well,
and
I
think it needs to
be documented as an inspection, and then it goes into the town for issue of the occupancy permit.
Yeah, and then that becomes part of the culture of the town, which is, oh, well, you're not going to be able to do this because you made those changes, because the DRC will never approve the fact that you've done this. I mean, that is going to become part of the culture of who we are, because right now there are still ways to work around that.
Yeah, because I'm not savvy enough to, when they submit the building permit plans, to check it against the DRC plans and to check for.
We need to do that.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, that's not your job. I don't think that's your job. I think that's our job.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important, especially as time goes on. And I don't think there's been major infractions on stuff that was truly approved by us in the first place. A lot of times things get done even without us, out our approval, or they get changed and not kind of slipped in and not noticed. But when they're big, like Bighorn Project, we're going to notice that. And one of the main concerns, I think, up at the new Washington Mill or whatever Heights is
Washington Mill site.
Washington Mill site is I know why you're laughing, Susan. I almost said it. Is the landscaping. That's been something that was kind of not the building inspector's purview, and most of the time it's not a good time of the year to do landscaping, and we don't expect major, plantings and that type of stuff. But when the landscaping follow-up doesn't happen, and then you have these ugly, yards and things. Yes, Jen.
And speaking of that, because they are almost ready to get the CO for the first house at Washington Mill,
Uh-huh.
haven't built up that rock wall like they were. So does that hold us up from issuing the CO, or do we wait for them to build that rock wall
You
later?
may want to just consider issuing a TOC and giving them the opportunity to, give an expiration date on the TOC of whatever time it takes to get that work done in the spring. And then if they don't, then you yank it. It takes out the livability of the home, and they'll have to straighten it up, or they'll need to move out.
Yeah, I think sometimes we have to take into consideration the weather here, and when you can feasibly do some of that exterior stuff. But
I did a walk down up there today, and I took a bunch of pictures. Unfortunately, they're humongous files, so I can't send them. So I will do something with them and send them probably tomorrow sometime. But I issued a report. It's a draft report to all of you just before the meeting. So I'm sure you haven't seen it yet, but let me summarize what I found. I first did a site review. Just, does it kind of look like what the plot plans, what the site plan showed? And I noted that the final grading is not completed. So we really can't nail down things like rock walls and, hardscape and that kind of stuff, which goes to the discussion we had earlier. What do we do about that? Because that's going to be a common problem whenever anybody goes for an occupancy permit. They're probably not going to be done with final grading and that kind of stuff. I don't know how final grading keys into the building inspector's final reports and what the requirements are there. But I did look at the walkway and the driveway. The concrete is good. It's the right color. I like the exposed aggregate finish on it. Landscaping obviously hasn't been started, so I like the idea of maybe we issue a temporary permit pending completion of the landscaping, per the landscaping plan. I went and looked through all the stipulations that we had and listed them and noted, what it was and then whether they complied or not. First one was 4 foot high, rock walls no higher than 4 feet. They've started doing that. It looks like they will, they're moving in that direction, but they're not in compliance yet because it's still not fully graded. Driveway, we wanted the sandstone color Davis Brown, and that's done. Lap siding, 4-inch exposure. Yep, they've got hardy siding, the hardy plank, and it is 4-inch exposure. Dark sky lighting. It looks like the fixtures are dark sky. I had them turn them on. They've got a floodlight type bulb in it that hangs just below the thing. So I don't think it will comply. So that is going back, and I've already notified Jeff that I don't think this is going to fly. And I would like to see an actual rating on the fixture. So that's something to follow up on. Roof vents and wall vents are all painted. They all are except for one white plumbing stub up through there. I talked to the guy that was doing the painting today. He's going to go ahead and spray that thing black or brown or something. But they got the big silver vent is taken care of. The metal garage door, should be painted to match the color of the house. There's no garage door there yet. It's still someplace between here and China, probably. But they know about it. He's expecting to paint it when it gets there. Then I took the elevation drawings and just kind of compared them against the house to make sure it kind of looks like what, window placement and all that. And they all comply. I mean, they're all very much in line with the drawings that we approved. The only exception is on the north elevation, which you're heading south on Biddle, you might see it. It's down behind the drive. The step in the foundation wall is a little further back than what was on the drawing, which is no big deal. It's acceptable. The window placements are fine. All the utilities are in that area as well, where they've got a broader area they can actually penetrate the building, so it's easier. And that's good shielding for those elevations. I did note that there are areas of foundation, exposed concrete foundation, that are visible, more than 12 inches.
They gotta fix them.
The plans show that should get taken care of when they get their final grading and get all their rock walls in and all that. And that looks like where they're going, but we won't know that until they get there. Follow-up actions, and I just had a thing of actions at the end. Resolve exposed concrete foundation, paint white plumbing vent for the roof, resolve the dark sky lighting thing, install the garage door, finish the final grading and rock walls, and install landscaping. So I think they've done a great job. And they have been responsive to things that have been noted to them in the past. We could issue a temporary permit until they get the other, basically the hardscape stuff taken care of.
Bob, did you notice if they had the right height doors? Remember the 8-foot door thing we went around about?
Yeah, they appeared to be normal doors.
Okay.
I don't know that was an issue on that first house.
Oh, I don't remember, but I remember the 8-foot door thing came up. So.
Yeah, I don't think
That was the second house.
Okay.
We got years ago, but we only got a temporary occupancy to begin with on the school because the yard wasn't finished. I mean, the whole building was finished, but the yard wasn't finished. So I had to put, that, and
So there's precedent.
yeah, and so I think doing that kind of thing to say, all right, you've got a temporary occupancy until this is finished, and you have a length of time to get, as Steve suggested, makes a great deal of sense. I'd like to speak to the light for a minute, because the light can change that whole neighborhood. Our lighting ordinance is a full cutoff ordinance. It's not
specified on their drawings.
And it's really full cutoff. So you should not see any portion of any light bulb ever. Because that light should not, it's not a flush light with the bottom of a fixture. It's up within the fixture, so you get that level of degree. So, and I think the lighting can make a huge difference to that place.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that I've talked to Jeff about, and he said he was going to, do something with the bulbs. I don't see that he has. Maybe he has. I don't know. Maybe what he did looks a lot like what I saw there a few days ago.
Yeah.
I had them turn them on when I was over there at dusk tonight, and I did take some pictures, and they definitely, you can see the bottom of the bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
something they'll need to resolve. And the shade part of the fixture is relatively shallow, so it may be an issue with the fixture as well.
Yeah.
They may not be able to put, in which case they're going to need to replace the fixtures.
But there are lots of fixtures that get sold as dark sky fixtures because and they don't actually contain the bulb. The bulb comes down to their limit, and so they're not shining up, but they're shining out all over the place.
Yeah,
and
no,
we
I know
want them to shine down.
And that's why that's an item that needs to be resolved. A question for anybody who knows is, if we issue a temporary occupancy permit, and they decide that's good enough for me, what's their incentive to go do what they're supposed to do to get a permanent one?
Well, if they're dealing with a bank, the banks don't like those temporaries. So that's
Would
one
it
issue.
expire after a certain amount of time?
Yes, like over in Summit County, we had most of them were 3 months on landscaping.
Yeah. Yeah, and usually it's a difference, a construction loan is humongously expensive compared to your final loan on your property or your house, so.
And it might be an insurance issue too down the road. If the insurance
I
company
agree,
starts
Mark.
checking in.
Well,
Yeah.
if it has an expiration on it, you give them 6 months or even a
Yeah.
year, and then it's going to expire, then they're without an occupancy permit.
Yeah.
Right.
So that ought to be plenty of incentive to finish it up.
That's the leverage there.
Well, what is the consequence if your permit expires and you're already living there?
Well,
Then
you
you
could
get
ask
kicked
them
out.
to move out.
Action, legal
But
action.
who enforces that?
Town.
Really? Do we?
The sheriff.
Never had to do it before, but it's always a nice threat.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to make friends too. So
What I would like.
We're
to
so
see-
good at that.
yeah, that would make us the kinder DRC right there.
Is can we formally request Steve to pursue modification of the town code to incorporate kind of what we've talked about here in, formalize it into our procedures and all that, work with Gerald on that, get that done.
I think that's where we need to head next. And then number 2, we need to have Safe Built quit giving people COs without talking to us first.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
'Cause that's
I was
the
going to
difference
propose
there.
that in the interim before we make it, because it'll take us a while to get where we need to go as far as the actual policy. I think that if the commission will give us the informal go ahead to allow Bob to continue on with reviewing not only plans prior to the issuance of the building permit, but also ensuring compatibility of the work being done in accordance with the COA prior to the issuance of the CO. I'm okay with that as long as I think Bob wants to make sure that what he's done is okay with the group moving forward until such time as we have a formal policy.
Well, I printed out what Bob has sent, and this is the perfect format for what we want.
Yeah.
I would ask him to continue or suggest he continues if he's willing to.
Yes.
But go ahead.
We're very excited to give all this work to Bob. Yeah, you do a really good job. That's excellent, Bob.
I would appreciate any comments that any of you have on
Okay.
what I
We
sent.
promise to read it.
Just send it back, because we can refine that, and then that would be the form that would be used to, to do a DRC review and send
Yeah,
off
that'd be great.
to the town hall for them to issue a permit.
This is a big deal. It's really, this is going to be good if we can do this.
Okay. Well, then we'll move forward in that vein, and that'll help Jen so that she knows to get Bob involved at the correct period of time. And then when I get back to town next week, I'll communicate with Jerry and see if we can't get a formal policy. But as long as you guys are okay with what Bob's done, then we're okay as staff, as far as I'm concerned, moving forward with that in the future as we move forward.
Maybe we ought to do a motion formally to ask the town to revise the code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I second that motion.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Okay.
Great.
Yay, good work, guys. Okay, and then all we have left is the November 18th minutes.
Yep.
And does anybody see anything on here?
I make a motion to approve minutes as written.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Okay, hey, great. Good meeting, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Very, thank you.
We'll do this again.
Yes, we will.
Everybody have a Merry Christmas in case we don't.
Oh,
Oh,
before then.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
happy
do.
holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Wow,
Thanks. So you too. Bye-bye.
amazing. Okay. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Bye. You look like you're feeling okay, actually.
Yeah, I took a great big giant Advil. So
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you if you were on
Kicked in.
drugs, but I didn't want everybody to think.
it kicked in the middle of the meeting.